Let's talk about this. Operation Dudula and the PA, the Patriotic Alliance, are very upset. They're up in arms over this decision to extend Zimbabwean Exemption Permits, or ZEPs, if you will, by a further 6 months. It's big numbers. Initially, 178,000 Zimbabwean Exemption Permit holders had until December, that's December this year, to renew their permits or face deportation. But now we come up to last week, where Home Affairs decided to extend the permits until June of next year. So let's find out why the Patriotic Alliance is taking the matter to the Constitutional Court. For that, I'm joined this morning by the organization, by the political parties, Mario Khumalo. Mario, good morning to you. I appreciate your time in joining us on eNCA. Why are you going to court over this matter?
Good morning, and thanks for having us. Well, we have to understand what the Immigration Act says. And pretty much, the Immigration Act is a point of departure. And it sets no provision or whatsoever for such a dispensation. And even within any other treaty, there's no such a dispensation, or legality for that matter, to be granted.
So why the issue with it being, despite the legalities and what the Immigration Act says about this? It seems immigration in our country right now is quite a fluid process as well. Are you wanting it to stick to the letter of the law and disregard changes in how immigration is being handled in our country? Is there any wiggle room, as far as the Patriotic Alliance is concerned, to deal with this matter later, after the permits have been granted?
Well, we have to understand that we are a law-abiding society, and our country has rules. And as far as we're concerned, and with our proper reading of the Immigration Act, it gives government no justification or whatsoever to actually break the law. But we should actually follow the law accordingly, and nothing like that has been happening. What we also need to realize is that there's a lot of miscarriage in our country when it comes to oath of office, and a lot of miscarriage against the constitution of the country and the people of this country. So therefore, there's a lot of government overreach and government overstep, and it cannot be correct. Just to sum it up for you, the ruling party, which is currently the government, is running amok in our country, and we can't allow that. When does it stop?
So what would you like to see happen, Mario, in a case with the Zimbabwe Exemption Permit? Surely it can't be a situation where, because government hasn't handled the situation of immigration well over the years, we've ended up in the situation we are now, and 178,000 Zimbabweans are asked to leave the country immediately. I mean, is that essentially what the Patriotic Alliance is calling for?
The law has been broken, and when you break the law, actually you should suffer the consequences. So, like I said earlier, the Immigration Act is a point of departure. Home Affairs acted beyond its scope and beyond their powers. And this goes back to when Malusi Gigaba was still the Minister of Home Affairs and Kuseli Apleni was the DG. They've both acted beyond their powers, and it cannot be justified whatsoever. One might want to argue the validity of these permits without actually asking the question is there any law or legality that constitutes the steps that were taken for these permits to be granted in the first place? And the answer is no.
So is it a case of, because government and Home Affairs, etc., and the various DGs overstepped and, as you say, overreached, that Zimbabweans are the ones who pay the price for that? Is that essentially what you're calling for?
What we are saying is there is no room or any provision for these permits. Not just only Zimbabweans, from the Angolans and Basutos as well. There is no provision. Even within the SADC protocol, there is no such provision. So the South African government doesn't want actually to implement the laws of this country as is, because if they do that, then what's going to happen is three things will happen. The ANC will become less relevant. Number two, they won't have uncontested privileges of them having mining concessions and many other personal deals across Africa. And number three, they won't have also the legitimacy to use the race card as they've been doing to actually lure the voters. So they don't want to implement the laws of this country. And also, Section 22 of the Constitution speaks of South Africans, which actually sets precedents for us to come first, but they don't want to do that.
And just as a last final comment as well, what does the Patriotic Alliance say to those Zimbabweans who may be watching this at the moment, knowing that essentially because of, as you suggest, government's ineptitude and government's inaction, their overreach and their non-application of the laws, they're going to be sent back to a country they don't want to be in? What do you tell the Zimbabweans and their families, Mario?
There is no war in Zimbabwe. There is no war in SADC. People come into our country claiming to be refugees and asylum seekers. That's a violation of foreign policy. The foreign policy is very direct. And to our understanding, the South African government has been defrauding the United Nations. Zimbabwe should actually take accountability of its people. They should take care of its people. We have our own problems. Since '94, we never had the chance to solve our own problems in South Africa, but we keep allowing an influx. I mean, you look at the Defense Act and many other acts, it's very clear that our borders shouldn't be porous, but things keep happening. So this is not acceptable. It is actually treasonous, and people should be held to account. And we need mass deportation for people to go back. We can compromise on that. The Patriotic Alliance is very direct and clear on that. As President Mackenzie said it, we need them to go back, and that's it.
Mario Khumalo, thank you very much indeed for joining us from the Patriotic Alliance. It is going to head to the Constitutional Court along with Operation Dudula as well. It's a very, very hot topic at the moment as well, to make sure we get all the different views of this as well. Last week I heard from Gayton McKenzie, today Mario Khumalo, and without a doubt we're going to get all the various voices involved in this as well.